Hey everyone, welcome back to Reading with Tatiana. Today I'm doing a booktube tag of my favorite activity, which is snacking. So this is the book snack tag, and I was tagged by the lovely Alex Black Reads, which I recently crossed paths with in the booktube community. And the original tag is created by Midnight Reader. I think I'm also going to make this kind of fun by sharing my favorite snack in real life for the prompt. So the first prompt is something sweet. So my favorite sweet snack is definitely either gummy candies or Oreos. I don't know, it's tough. I have such a big sweet tooth. So the prompt is something sweet, the chocolate chip cookie of books. Pick a book that is warm-hearted, uplifting, and makes you less cynical about the world. So this one, hear me out first, may sound weird, but it is the Tattooist of Auschwitz. And the reason why is because this book, yeah, it's freaking dark and it's heavy, and it's about these people who were in a concentration camp basically. But the story that the protagonist shares about being a tattooist and finding hope in such a dark space and what people did to help each other, to support each other, was really heartwarming. It really just goes to show that as a human, existing, we really find ways to persevere and to endure wherever we can to survive and make the most of any situation. And yeah, that book was just surprisingly heartwarming, which I know sounds kind of messed up, but I'm glad you heard me out. But if I was going to pick like an obvious book that's warm-hearted and uplifting, it would be Instructions for Dancing. I read this book last year, I believe, and it's a young adult's book that talks about learning to dance and falling in love and coming to terms about your parents' divorce. I just found it a really nice book, really easy to read, and I really enjoyed that book. The second prompt is something salty. For me, a real life snack is obviously ruffled chips. The deeper the ruffle, the better. If a chip isn't ruffled, I don't think it's even worth eating, to be honest, and that's just me being spoiled. So the prompt is inherently craveable. Pick a book or series that you couldn't stop reading or reaching for. If you've watched all my tags recently, I will not stop talking about this book. I am not paid by the publisher or anything like that. I just love this book and I think everyone should read it. And it is Beasts of a Little Lamb by Jae Kim. This book was just so lovely. It covers multi-generation of these characters in Korea from 1918 up to 1960s, shortly after Korean independence. And it's just a great, lovely book. I think when the book ended, I literally turned to my partner and I was like, I'm sad this is over and I can't wait in the future when I read this book again and just dive into this world. It's just great book. If you read it, please comment down below. I would love to hear it. Prompt number 3 is a cheesy snack. This one's quite easy. I love my Cheetos Puffs. I actually went through a phase where I ate a large Cheetos bag every weekend and I gained a bit of weight, so I had to nip that habit in the butt. So the prompt is, like Cheetos dust, you can't escape the cheese. Pick a book that you love because of or in spite of its cheesiness. So if you watch my channel, you guys know that I'm not a huge romance reader, but every now and then I like to switch things up. So for me, this was an obvious one. It was a very popular book last year, which is Book Lovers. I really love this book because I felt like the author and the character broke the fourth wall many times, and because she's like a book agent or whatever, she could see the cheesiness coming and she still lived it as the protagonist. And I really enjoyed that. I think there's nothing more than realizing something, acknowledging it, and it still happened, and just soaking it in. So Book Lovers is definitely a great book for the cheesiness that I appreciated. Prompt number 4 is deep fried. For this one, obviously deep fried chicken, or actually, you know what, if you never had just cheese deep fried by itself, you should. It's amazing, especially mozzarella, and then you pull it and it stretches in between the deep fried goodness. So good. So for this prompt is, you bit too soon into the hot batter and got burned. Pick a book that hurt to read. So this book, I am ashamed to admit, was my only did not finish last year, and it was The Portrait of Dorian Gray. I know this is a classic, and I know it's a great message and great story, but the writing for me was just like really hard for me to read. Maybe English was too old. Yeah, it was hard. I didn't finish it. It was a short book. I should have pushed through, but I couldn't. I was literally reading like a page a day, and it was painful. And I really enjoy reading, and that book just wasn't for me. But I know it's a good book and has a great story. But I was fine with just the spark notes for it. Prompt number 5 is ice cold. This one is a no-brainer for me. I love my Ben and Jerry's ice cream pints, similar to my Cheetos confession earlier, where I ate a bag every weekend for a bit. I also ate a pint of Ben and Jerry's every weekend for a bit, which contributed to the weight gain. And my favorite flavors is the Tonight Dough and probably Old Koeda. Those two are super good, just amazing. Love Ben and Jerry's. I really support them. They're a great company. They also have great plant-based flavors if you want to reduce your dairy footprint, or just explore going plant-based. So yeah, so the prompt is, sometimes the snack you want can only come from a deep freezer. Pick a book that transports you to a cold place. So this is a trilogy. It's by David A. Robertson. It's called the Masawa Saga. I've only read the first 2 books, which is The Barren Grounds and The Great Bear, which I have reviews for in my channel. So this book is basically Narnia, but it's modernized, and also it's in the indigenous scope. So basically you meet 2 foster kids who basically find a portal to this cold place, I think called Masawa, where their traditions and their heritage come from. And of course it's set in like a very cold place, I think the Arctic or something. This book is really great. I think Narnia will always be a classic, but if you're someone that lives in North America, where we have a lot of indigenous exposure in our culture and our history, this can get a spotlight on quite a bit. This would be a great book to share with someone young in your life, just to have a different scope of, I guess, like classics they can grow up with. I really think they're great books and to read even if you're an adult. Prompt number 6 is something sour. So for me, I love my sour keys. They are a great snack. I love Sour Patch Kids. I think that's it. I'm not like into like warheads or that type of sour, but sour keys, so great. So the prompt is, some things are too sour to keep a straight face. Pick a book that made you make faces while you're reading. So this book, I think, is obvious if you watch my channel. It is Colleen Hoover books, any of them. I'm gonna give one more book one more chance, because it's recommended by Eliza's Bookshelf. But I think after that book, if it's bad, I probably won't read it. But I always cave into the hype, so we'll see. I think if you're obviously a Colleen Hoover fan, you won't see what I'm gonna say about it. But for me, like, I just don't get the mindset of these characters and why they act the way they do. I think they are very toxic people. They lack foresight, and I think these books give a bad impression for young people of what romance should be like, because it should not be like these books. And one of the ones I hate the most was, I believe it was Faraday, where they had unprotected sex. They acknowledged it and they still went through with it. So yeah, not about her books. Prompt number 7 is the healthy snack. So a healthy snack for me is grapes, and I also love baby carrots. I also love, I think that's it. I don't know, like, is it a snack if it's healthy? That's my argument. Anyways, so for this one, you pick this up because it was good for you. Pick a book that you read to improve yourself in some way. So this book is on my channel. It's actually my most popular video. It's either Living Untethered or Untethered Living, because he has 2 books. And I wanted to read the first book, but I could pick up the second book. So basically, both his books, I haven't read the first one yet, but it's on my list. It's just really great because it's just about living and just being untethered and being free and being more conscious. And it just puts my mindset on my life in a different perspective. And it was the book I needed to read, and it came to me at a great time in my life because it reaffirmed all the beliefs I had and just made me more confident in my beliefs. I think this book is really good because in many ways it's very adjacent to religion, but as someone who is agnostic and doesn't subscribe to a specific faith, this book makes it so that anyone can read to it and relate, and doesn't have to relate to God or Allah or anything specific. So I really recommend this book, especially if you're spiritual but maybe not exactly faith-based. Prompt number 8 is juicy snack. So for me, I like watermelons. Every season when it's watermelon season, me and my partner will buy a watermelon and we'll eat it in the span of a few days. It's just so good. A good red watermelon. I also really love the brine. I think it's called the white part of the watermelon, and I think it's like people get rid of it and you just enjoy it 'cause it's so fresh and texture is just so great. Let me know if you eat the brine of the watermelon because I think that's like the best part. Anyways, the prompt is like an orange or a watermelon. Some snacks have plenty of pieces to share. Pick a book that is profoundly shareable, a book you want others to read. So this book, I think everyone read in high school because I think for a lot of people it was required reading. But I actually didn't get to read this in high school because I think my teacher picked a different book. So I read it as an adult like last year, and when I read it, I was like, why did it take so long to read this book? However, I do think if I read it in high school, maybe I went like above, like beyond me and wouldn't have paid attention. Whereas reading it as an adult, I was like, wow, I get why this book is a usual high school required reading. It's just so succinct and has covers so many things about like the government and control and authority and just listening to reason and blah blah blah. And I just thought it was done really well. So this book is Animal Farm by George Orwell. I think it's a great book to read if you're young, if you're old, to spark discussions, and it's just a great book. I think you can share it, and you know this goes for his other book as well, 1984. Like this book, this guy, George Orwell, was a great writer and had great ideas to spark discussions and thought. And now for prompt 9, the last one, the snack pack. Everyone wins when you swap and share snacks. Tag some friends to do the tag. So I'm just going to tag 3 people that have commented on my channel or have interacted recently on their channel. I didn't check if you guys have done this tag yet, so if you have, I'm sorry. But if you haven't, I'd love to see you do it. So 3 people I tag is Chris Reviews, Tangible Reads, and Reading with Merb. Thanks again for watching my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.